Happy Monday, you guys. Welcome to the show. You've been asking for more UX content. It took us a little while, but we found an expert today. We're going to be talking about how to do a 4-day design sprint in, a couple of hours. It's going to be really cool, guys. We have today on the show, all the way from Cebu, is Albert Padin. He's a Google developer, expert, and a design sprint master. And look what he brought us today. Look at this. We're going to be getting into this kit. This is the official Google Sprint Kit, which is super limited because it doesn't even exist anymore. And what we're going to be doing on the show today is understand, sketch, decide, prototype, and validate. So without further ado, I'm going to welcome Albert to come on the show. Albert Padin, everybody. Boom!
Woohoo!
All right.
Thank you, Chris.
I'll step aside.
Okay, so before we start, I just want to say thank you to all the guys. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, the Futur. Thank you to my folks back in Cebu, Philippines. You have Tina Amper there. You have Francis, Genesis, and Tom, who's responsible for connecting me with Chris. And also to shout out to my awesome team at Symph. Cool. Thank you.
All right.
So we're gonna go straight into this. So is my slides being shown? So we'll go with sprint. So today we're going to be discussing what a sprint is, but this is usually a 4-day exercise. So these people over here are going to participate, and we are going to simulate, role play a sprint as if we're going to do it for 4 days. But we're not really going to do the whole 4 days, right? We're just going to cover it about an hour, maybe 2 hours, and let's just go through the process. So we will not do an actual sprint, but a very, very compressed one. Not really to just, we're not going to concentrate on the details, we're going to concentrate on the overall picture, and we're going to spend compressed time on everything so that we can cover a lot of details, all right? If you want to know more about it, there are many videos out there, and I will let you know about it, but we're just going to go on what is a sprint. So what is a sprint? So the genesis of this is the sprint book by Jake Knapp. He's from Google Ventures. He got really tired or upset or, tired of all these brainstorming sessions, these endless meetings of ideation, unstructured, very difficult to manage, and so he decided to put a structure and a process on things. The result is the design sprint.
Yay!
So originally it's 5 days, right? 5 days of what? First, you define the problem, you focus your energy in defining the problem with your team, right? And then you ideate solutions so that you come up with solutions, then you vote and decide, and then after that you then prototype and then test. So you see it's like an end-to-end exercise or workshop that takes you from ideation all the way to testing. So, because ideas are cheap, it's really, you need to test them out to see what actually sticks. So this is the process. But before we go there, we've actually shortened the process. Care of aj&smart. They've done so many sprints already, so they've shortened the process to what they call Sprint 2.0.
Yep.
So Sprint 2.0, instead of doing 5 days, because it's really, really hard to do 5 days of sprint, right? Because the commitment here is that you have your executives come in, or your decision makers join you for the sprint, and it's a very, can you imagine if I ask you 5 days? Chris, clear out your schedule for 5 days.
That's a big commitment, Albert.
Ben, and if you also want to be part of this, you need to 5 days, right? Woo. Right, 5 full days. So I don't think he can do that, and so that's really been the experience. So it's a very big pain point. So reduce it to 4 days, and not only reduce it to 4 days, but the decision makers need to only be there for the first 2 days. So much more
palatable.
Yeah, much more doable, but still the same impact. All right. So, all right. So Sprint 2.0. Now, before we dive into the exercises, let me explain a little bit of what a design sprint is and what is unique about it. All right. So there are already a lot of techniques out there in design that help you facilitate ideation, defining a problem, user journey mapping, empathy mapping. Now all these things are good, but what the design sprint has done is taken all these little techniques, these small techniques, and put them together in a series of activities basically, so that you go from defining the problem all the way to testing in 4 days, right? So the structure of end to end, so you actually go from beginning to end, right? So they basically bundled all of this up in a step-by-step manner that's easy to do, easy to follow, and you can just do it. So here, if you notice, over here, we have our checklist. So where's my whiteboard marker? Okay, so I actually asked Chris to write this down for me. Thank you, Chris.
You're welcome.
Okay, so we have here the entire set of activities that we need to do, all right? And then the first one is just write down this checklist. So if you're facilitating a sprint, You then just check off because we already did that. Yay!
Wow, we've done so much already. This
All
is
right.
amazing.
Okay, so let's just step right into it, okay? So the best way to learn this is by showing and doing and being part of the activity. So if you're watching this on the live stream, if you have a question, feel free to do that. Ben here is moderating the questions, and then feel free to ask at any time,
Yep.
and then we'll try to answer them, okay? So first part is expert interviews plus how might we's. So we're going to get, in this part of activity, we're going to get the expert. In this case, it's going to be Chris, all right? You can have more than one expert talk, and the focus of this activity is to get everybody on the same page. So today we're going to be solving a problem. Chris, what problem are we solving today?
I think what we want to do is work on design education.
Design education.
How can we reinvent that? How can we make that better and work for the people and for the teachers, students and teachers alike?
Okay, so we're gonna be asking Chris a lot of questions and the expert interview. So this way usually takes long. We're going to squeeze it, as I said, we're going to squeeze out of the activities and get you just the gist of it. Now I will share with you a note-taking technique. So while Chris is talking, each of the participants here, you guys, will be taking notes, and we call this how might we's, right? So on your post-its, you write HMW at the upper left corner. So how might we? And then you write the note taking for. So how might we note-taking technique is actually a technique used to reframe a scenario or a situation so that it doesn't focus on a problem or a solution. Let me give you an example. So for example, you say, design education sucks, right? And that's true. So if Chris says design education sucks, mostly, is that true?
Mostly.
Okay, so design education sucks. But that's just stating the problem, right? It's like, oh, yeah, I agree with you, okay?
Right.
And then that's the end of the story, right? So not very beneficial, so it's focusing on the problem, too much focusing on the problem. And then the other side is, Chris might just say, you know what? We should do an online course and make it available to everyone for free, right? So that's also just too much focus on a solution, right? So it's like end of story. It's either you say, yeah, that's cool, or nah, that's not so cool, or maybe we should do that end, right? So what we do is we reframe that as a how might we. Okay? So instead of focusing on a problem or solution, we say, how might we make education more accessible to everyone, everywhere? Or how might we improve the quality of design education? Now I'm feeding you guys notes, right? But so what we do is that. So it now reframes the question, reframes the scenario from a problem to solution, focusing more on like what can we do together. So how focuses on the what. Might is important. How might is important because it allows you to explore options. So imagine if I said, how will we fix education, right? There's a lot of pressure in the will.
You
right?
get locked into something.
Yeah, you're like, it has to be perfect or else, you know. So how might gives you the ability to be sort of free, explore options. There's not so much pressure because it can be right or it can be wrong, and it's okay. It's just like how might, right? And then we, because together, right? Not how might I, it's how might we together. So let's just spend like 2 minutes on this.
Yep.
And just write how might we's. All right, so
I just realized something. We didn't give the ladies and Ben some supplies. Should we get into the kit?
All right,
this
let's
is a
do
good
that.
time. Let's do that. So, can you explain to us what's in this lovely kit? And thank you for bringing this out.
You're
for us.
welcome. Yeah, thank you to Google for getting this out to me. This is very limited edition. Actually, they don't have these already. So, but they were able to find one of this in a stock room somewhere.
Wow.
Okay, so let's open this. So it opens up to that. Ta-da! All right. So let's open it up. Okay. So over here, you have, it's the Sprint book.
Yes. I have this book. This is a lovely book. I need to read this book.
Yeah, so you definitely need to read this book. If you want to run a design sprint, definitely need to read this book. And then there are other videos out there to supplement that.
Yep.
Would really, really be helpful for you.
And we will drop the Amazon link in the description below. Guys, make sure you check it out in the description below.
Okay. Then we have Post-it notes, different colors as well. But it's important that you have the rectangular ones.
Yeah, are these 3x5?
Yeah, not the square ones. I think these are 3x5.
Yeah, 3x5.
Right. And it's important because you will be writing out of stuff that need to be readable from a sort of like a distance. So it's good to keep
You know what? After the show airs, what I'll
There you
do
go.
is I'll include an entire description with links below so you can purchase everything on Amazon.
Okay.
Now, I notice there are different colors. Is
Right.
there a method to the colors as
Yes,
well?
so we will be using the different colors later
Okay.
for indicating special in the session where we're indicating feedback. But for now, we'll just use all the yellow plain colored ones.
Okay.
Okay, there you go.
The standard Post-it note.
And then over here we have the pens.
Now these are not just normal Expo pens or Sharpies. These are Google Sharpies and Google Expo, hand selected, hand curated.
Whiteboard markers, all right?
Yes.
Now I have a recommendation when you do a sprint, you just work with whiteboard markers all the time, because sometimes when you have a mixture of Sharpies and whiteboard markers, the Sharpies usually end up on the whiteboard.
You know my friend Jose, he's destroyed many whiteboards that way. Yes.
Yeah. And then you have this smaller pens, but
Like a fine tip pen.
Yeah.
Okay.
So these are when we write out, we draw out our sketches. Okay.
All right.
So I'm just gonna dump them all here.
Beautiful.
Great.
Leave these out here for the ladies to use. I would suggest that in the beginning when we're writing ideas that use the fatter Sharpie so that we can see the ideas more clearly and not use the fine tip one. But there's a whole other side here, Albert. What's on the other side?
Over here, ta-da!
Woo!
We have this time timer. Now we really like this to use this because unlike a digital timer, this gives you a visual.
Whoa, that's pretty
Right?
cool.
It's very simple, but it's actually quite powerful because your brain doesn't. So when you need to know like how much time is left, you don't need to convert numbers and to like think like, oh, how much time. You just see
How much red is
there's
left.
a lot or there's just a little, and then you can comprehend that very quickly, right? So it's a very good timer. And then the most important part that it has a battery and it works. And then when it reaches 0, perfect. So a lot of the activities in the sprint actually are time structured, meaning they have time limits. Now some are flexible, some are not, but all of them have are time bound basically. All right, let's put our timer over here.
Okay, and then we have some other dots in here, I see.
Okay,
from
so
Avery.
we have 2 types of stickers. So these are stickers, so we have the big stickers. These are used for voting on big ideas, right?
Okay.
Or even the small ideas actually. And then over here we have the small dot stickers. So we use this to create like when we're voting on small features, like we have a whole solution, this whole drawing, a whole sketch, and want to vote on just a particular segment of that. This is what we use. All right. And I'm just like going over the ingredients in the cookbook.
Yeah.
Okay.
Lovely.
And then we have the tape. What is the tape for? So, at some point we need to tape these paper that we have
Oh, okay.
onto a surface. It could be the whiteboard or the wall. And so this is the
Blue
tape is
painter's
for.
tape.
Exactly.
Okay, perfect.
Cool.
So I'll put this kit away. Thank you for bringing us this super special limited edition kit. Thank you, Google, very much. All right.
Cool.
Now we have supplies. So are we going to set up some time for, what are we doing?
Okay, so we'll do just
Expert interviews,
5 minutes, expert interviews. So now we're going to take turns. Okay, you guys are going to ask the expert over here some questions. I will kick it off just so that, you have
Just to help them get started.
Right. So,
Okay.
just Chris, tell us about the problem, describe the problem that you are trying to solve.
The problem that we're trying to solve is that there's a lot of people who want design education, but the price and access to high quality design education is very prohibitive to a lot of people. So we did an episode recently where a semester at a good school is about $22,000 a semester, and that's way out of reach out of most people. And then you have to be geographically desirable. You have to be somewhere where you can get into the country or close enough where you can live there. So that adds on a whole nother expense. So there's that problem. The other problem is that teachers spend a lot of time developing their learning materials, and they only earn money while they're working. So if you're staff or if salaried employee, you're going to cap out. So that means if you work harder or less, it doesn't really matter. You get paid a certain amount.
Okay.
Is that too much information?
It's actually very good information. You have 20 minutes in real life, but in here we only have 5 minutes.
Sure.
So
Hurry that up.
we're going to pause you, and then we're going to ask another question that
Okay.
it's important to ask. It's like, describe your product.
Okay. Our product is an online education platform. So you're going to learn through a combination of videos and downloadable PDFs.
Cool. Now, what are the main pain points right now that you experience in the products?
For us?
Yes.
Awareness.
Okay.
I think it's generally awareness. And we always we strive to build higher fidelity learning tools.
Okay. So what is the objective here?
The objective of our school
Right.
is to be able to give people the highest quality education for the least amount of money and do it in a way that's sustainable for us to continue to build and scale our business.
All right. So you guys have any questions for Chris?
If you do, you need the mic.
Okay. So we have Jin here.
Hi. So how would you describe awareness? What do you mean by that?
Okay. Awareness in that we have a great product, but not many people know about the product itself. So I think in this space, if you think about online education, you might think of Khan Academy, you might think of Linda, now LinkedIn Learning, Udemy, Skillshare, basically everybody we compete against, right?
Cool.
Anybody else have another question?
Not yet.
Okay, good.
Ben, do you have a question?
I'm sure Ben has a loaded question for me.
Nope.
He says no.
Do you have any question in YouTube?
Okay, yeah, that's excellent. YouTube, what kind of questions do you have for the Future Learning platform? Here we go. It'll take a minute for them.
We have a random question if you want to answer that when we're writing.
Sure, go ahead.
What was the biggest sprint fail, and what did you learn from it?
Wait, you have to ask it.
Oh yeah. So, what was your biggest sprint fail, and what did you learn from that?
So the biggest sprint fail that I've had was we did very well all the way until testing. So what happened during testing was we had so much feedback that we took notes on everything, right? So we're going to fast forward. We're going later to talk about the user testing and how to do it. But what I experienced before was that we had like 7 of us just taking notes, so much notes on everything that at the end of the 5 days, and this was the 5-day version that we did. At the end of the 5 days, we had so much notes that it took us about 3 or 4 hours to process that we almost gave up. We were so tired. Probably had like 200 post-it notes on the whiteboard that we had to sort through and make sense of. So that was like, and what I learned about that is like limit the number of feedback that you can give, like pick on the each user testing subject. Cool. All right. Do you have a new question?
Here, you have to take the mic.
Sure. Hi, I'm Julia. So how might we improve learning courses?
Is that the kind of question?
Well, she can ask it that way. Yeah, it's fine.
I think you're just interviewing me at this point, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So ask your question again. How might we improve learning courses? I do not know.
Okay.
The answer is I don't know.
Okay.
That's what we're here for, I think.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this segment is called the expert interviews. So it usually takes 20, maybe
Yeah.
maximum 30 minutes per expert. There may be multiple experts in the room. So, but then the goal is to write as many how might we's and take notes. This also gets the people on the same page.
Okay, so
All right.
can you give us some samples of how might we's that worked in the past? You know, like generically speaking, in sessions that you've been a part of?
Right. So it's very specific. Each interview is very specific. So, for example, like I will just take this. Like,
Okay.
how might we accommodate low-income students? So this is actually
Ooh, I
very
love
good.
that. Nice one.
Right. This is a good example of a how might we. So it's not suggesting a solution. So for example, there are times when it's very tempting to say, how might we get the people on my site and to click the call to action button that is color green, right? So you're already suggesting a solution in your
Yeah.
how might we. So your how might we must be open to multiple possibilities.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
And then, am I supposed to answer those questions?
No.
Okay.
But they can ask you any question. So.
Oh.
All right. So
There it is.
Out of
We're
time?
out of time.
Okay. Cool. So
Good, saved.
that's basically the expert interview how might we portion. But now I need you to take all your how might we's and put it on the whiteboard over here.
Okay.
All right. So just take all of those and put it over here.
Under user?
No, just actually we just prepare this for later.
Oh, okay. Just
but
put it anywhere on the board.
Put it anywhere
Okay.
on the board. Okay.
Good job, ladies.
All right, I'm just going to give you some context a little bit. So the idea here is that they are one team. They are one product team. One is the CEO, or one is like the product lead, project manager. If it's a small company, it's usually the CEO is involved, the design team, the developers, maybe even the marketing person. But if it's a bigger company, it's usually like a division, just the product team. But basically, all the decision makers have to be there. Okay, so do you have more, Ben? Okay.
Ben's
So
gonna put some?
I'm going to give you a whiteboard marker, and I need you to basically categorize your how might we's. All right? So put them into categories, any category you want.
Okay. Do I use the marker to circle or group them?
Yeah, you can do that, and then just put a category on each. Yeah, basically all of you do this,
Okay.
all right? Just after Ben is doing this.
Okay.
All right, go ahead.
Walk in there.
All right.
Just walk in. Don't worry.
Ben, you need to join this part. And actually, Chris, you just
Okay,
need
yeah.
to join this part.
Okay. So what do we do?
So you're categorizing this. Categorize everything.
Oh,
In these categories?
No. You make your own category.
Yeah. So these. Okay. Okay.
So I'm going to do a
Is there
side note.
anything
Where can I
else
explain a
about
side note?
Affordability.
Okay, you're whispering, man. Everybody can
All right.
hear you. That's-
So
that's-
can I talk here? Yeah. So what we're actually doing is this part is not really important, right? It's not really important to categorize them. But what we're doing is we're tricking them to read every single how might we, right? Because if you tell them to just read the how might we of other people, they'll like read 1, 2, 3 and then get tired and then they don't care. But since we're telling them to categorize it, they're
Like,
going
how
to
do you
go
know
every
what
single
you're
thing
learning
and they're
is,
not
like,
discussing, right?
compared
So this is
to,
basically just a trick to get everybody to
studies
read
about,
everybody's
like,
how might we
cereal.
and get on the same page. The categories, not really important, but let's not tell them that. All right, guys, I'm gonna time you. Just 2 more minutes to go.
Okay, we need to stay on this side of the camera. Oh, I see. That's why I was stood up right. That should be under user, right? Our target audience.
Easy and understandable. Easy and understandable, practical.
Make good categories, guys.
Maybe,
But you got 1 minute left.
Oh, I see.
Chisel,
Hurry up.
Right. So the actual times are on the sprint documentation in the book
I see.
as well, right?
In the blue book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the sprint 2.0 by aj&smart.
I see.
But for now, we're just making random time
Mm-hmm.
to just squeeze everything.
desirable,
Maybe quality.
quality, yeah.
Addressing our problems on the site, this has to
So the team is allowed to work independently and resolve some issues, and kind of that's what they're doing right now, building categories for their how might we questions.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. So the thing that I whispered over there is actually that this part is actually not necessary.
Oh,
It's the categories don't really matter.
Oh, I see.
It's basically a trick to make everybody read everybody's how might we's.
very smart.
Because if you tell them that, read all the how might we's, it gets boring pretty fast.
Yeah,
Right?
Right.
And you have a lot.
because it's redundant. Too.
Imagine if we had 30 minutes,
Right.
there would be a ton of how might we's over there. Right? So what we did is we basically mind hack,
Yeah.
so
I
that
get it.
everybody reads everything.
That's a good hot tip.
Okay.
So if you're a facilitator, the whole point of this exercise right now is to get the people to read and interact with each
Yes,
other,
yes.
without consuming a lot of time from the entire group.
Right.
Perfect.
Right. And they're involved and motivated.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, guys.
Okay, time's up.
Okay, time's up. Okay, good. So I just explained, but I'm going to tell you actually, the categories are not really that important. What was important is that everybody actually reads everybody's how might we's. All right, and I think as trying to do the categories, you did. So now you're all on the same page. Now I'm going to give you stickers. All right, so I'm going to give you stickers. So each one of you gets a pad.
All of us,
All right, yeah.
even the expert.
Well, you get a pad, but you're going to need to use only 2 each. Right?
You can only use 2 each.
Yeah, and the
then
expert can use 4
4, and then you put dots on.
on the ones that you want.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Okay, well, guys, go ahead.
All right.
Put 2 dots. That's all you have. You can only use 2 dots. I can
Only
use
2.
4 on the ones that you want.
Okay, I'm going to time this. All right.
All right. Yes.
So, excuse me? What I'll do is we will do this, we'll call this a silent voting. So in voting, there's a concept called silent voting where you don't talk, you just vote silently. This is important so that you don't influence what other people vote on. All right, go ahead.
That's another hot tip, you guys.
Right.
Hot tip.
So the goal of the sprint is basically to make the best ideas win. And sometimes, right, when you have like a person like Chris,
like me.
nobody's going to go against Chris. So when Chris starts talking, everybody shuts up, right? I think so. So it's very intimidating. So what you do is you vote quietly, right? So that we don't influence each other. So then sort of the best ideas kind of surface up.
Let's
So
do
we
it,
put
ladies.
2 on 1?
Yes.
Okay.
There's no rules on what you can vote on. Go, ladies. Let's do it. Because I'll go last, right? So I don't influence you unduly.
You can do that. Yeah.
Plus, we don't want to crowd the board. I think you're supposed to put it on it.
Influencing.
No, you
Yeah, Chris.
you missed the target. This is why Asians don't play basketball. She's like point blank range and she misses the board.
That's almost as bad as permanent marker on the.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ben. You can vote at the same time.
Go.
All right. Okay.
Okay. And there you go. Galloway.
Right. So you get 4, Chris. So Chris, we've labeled him as the decision maker. So you have to pick who the decision maker is. And in this case, we pick Chris. And he gets 4 dots. Now there are variations of this that you can do, more dots, or you get, there are variations of this, but basically the decision maker gets more dots than everybody else. Time's up. Okay, so now we're going to form what we call a decision tree. Basically, we'll rearrange it. So we put the one with the most dots on top, and then the rest at the bottom. So just in order. So you have the most dots over here, and then the ones with less dots on the second level. So if you have anything with 3 or 2, no, all are 1.
All are 1.
Just put them at the same level already. Okay. Okay.
So if there were ones with 3, then that would go down the next rung, and then
Yeah.
so on and so forth.
Yeah. Okay. Then the rest we'll just put down. Okay. There you go. So the objective of this, so see, we don't care about the categories really, right? So the objective of this is just to get the top, how might we up here. All right. So we have a winner, or we have the top voted one. This is basically, it says, how might we make design learning practical? Okay. So everybody, you can now take a seat. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good
All right.
job.
Okay, so one tip in a design sprint when you're facilitating or running one, you have to keep the energy high, but in a design sprint, a lot of the parts are quiet, right? So, and that's okay, because there's a lot of thinking involved, and so that's fine. Okay, so now we move to the second part, which is the long-term goal and the sprint questions, right? So in the long-term goal, we're going to write individually, right? In 2 years, if everything goes well with your product, right? Everything goes well in 2 years, how would that look like, right? So just write down your idea and put it on the note.
Ooh. Maybe I need to participate. Can you hand me one of those pads?
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, give us the prompt one more time.
Sorry?
If all goes well in 2 years, how might your product look like?
Yeah, so put at the very top, so I would write it down like this. I would put in 2 years, and then write it down. Right. You can write more than one if you want. So usually this is given 5 to 10 minutes, but I'll just give 1 minute. So if you notice, a design sprint is very quiet. And that's actually good, right? It's the opposite of brainstorming, where it's just so much going on, which is not necessarily bad. But this takes the opposite approach of sort of trying to get deep work and concentration and thinking. So it's a concept of working together alone, or working alone together. So that's basically what's happening here. So just a reminder, it's important that other people can read your... Okay?
As you're looking at Julia specifically?
Okay, so we're out of time. So now I need you to take all and put it over here on the board.
We can do this anywhere?
Over here.
Over here.
Yeah. Okay. So it would be nice when you're running a design sprint that you have a lot of surface to put Post-its on, right? Because you're going to quickly run out of surfaces. So it could be a wall.
You can also flip that board from time to time.
All right. Okay.
One on the left.
We'll do that. Let's just erase this marketing word over here so that it doesn't Okay. All right. Now each one gets 1 vote. All right? Each one gets 1 vote. You don't get any vote.
Thank you.
All right? And basically, everybody else, please vote on your favorite, your top one. All right?
What do they say? Go over what they say.
All right.
Oh, yeah,
let's
you should
this
probably
out.
read them.
It says this one: in 2 years, the majority of our courses are free for the end user. Got it. In 2 years, we have 50% scholarships for students in need. In 2 years, universities and colleges are using our programs in their classrooms. In 2 years, affordable, high-quality education for a wide range of demographics. In 2 years, we will have, you guys are so cool, okay. In 2 years, we will have a complete curriculum for beginners, intermediates, and experts. In 2 years, we host boot camps. In 2 years, we have affordable career coach services, and in 2 years, we showcase student work. Cool. All right, so
One dot.
Just
one red
one.
dot vote. You three go. You lost yours, Ben? Here.
all right. So now Chris is the decision maker. You're gonna take a look at this and you see the dots gravitating here, right? But doesn't matter. You get to decide whatever you want, right?
I get my
It's-
own dot? What do we do?
Well, you just pick which one. So
Okay.
this is not exactly a democratic process, which is like in real life. That's really the case. So decision maker basically gets an idea of what the sense of the team is, where the team's at, and then you get to decide what you want the long-term goal to be.
Okay. Design Sprint Master.
Right.
These two, I wrote this one out. Just a minute, I wrote this one. I just want to ask you a quick question.
Sure.
So this one says in 2 years we'll have complete curriculum for beginners, intermediates, and experts.
Right.
So that's very tactical, like it tells us. And
Right.
this is like the result of that, which
Right.
is now we're an integrated part to all schools
Right.
in the country. Help me decide as to which one of those two that I should pick.
So this is a part where he's trying to ask me a facilitator, and the most important thing you need to do as a facilitator is not be part of it, all right? Because then what's gonna happen is I'm gonna make a suggestion, they go with it, and in 2 weeks I'm no longer there, and he's gonna revert everything to what he originally wants, right? So it's important that you actually make the decision yourself. So tell me, Chris, what is it that you really feel strongest about?
Right here.
Okay, so there you go. So now that becomes basically the long-term sprint goal.
Got it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Okay. Sorry, guys.
No, actually they're the same goal. It's just stated differently.
Right.
Yeah. And this is not like a win-lose situation.
Right. So there are in the original sprint, you actually do it together, right? You can modify it, like you talk and discuss about like what your long-term sprint goal is, but in this sprint 2.0, to make sure that it's very quick and we can do it in 4 days, we go straight to voting and then decide, because it really it doesn't matter so much as we think it does. All right. So now we move on to the sprint questions. So these questions they start with can we, okay? So, all right. So what you will write is, right, put here, can we, dot, dot, dot. All right. So these are the questions of like what could go wrong, right? Like what could go wrong, how can you prevent things? So this is everything that when it's like all well and good, right? Now imagine what are the things that can go wrong and how can we sort of like prevent that or not make that happen, all right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, give us an example of how we can phrase the can we as
Okay.
a potential solution to a problem.
Let me take a look at my notes.
Okay.
Okay.
And I just want to let Jonah know for B-roll, even though we're not live streaming that, you got to get in here and just walk in and shoot it, dude. Okay? Because we don't want the same kind of shot. So when people are writing on markers, you got to work on that core, the Jonah. And internet, you guys want music? Play your own freaking music. Come on, people. Ben is being savage AF. Okay. Is that you, Ben? Oh, that was Matthew. Sorry, Matthew's being savage.
Yeah. So basically, I'm actually forgetting what this is exactly. So basically the goal is to get to answer the question of what can go wrong, and how to prevent that. So for example, I would say, can we make the universities and colleges are
For
using
example, can we prevent people from pirating our content?
Okay, you can do that.
Nice, Ben. Nice.
Thanks, Ben.
Ben bringing in the business. How do we prevent people in certain countries, China, from stealing all our content and pirating it? That's
Okay.
a problem.
All right.
Okay, are you guys good?
Yeah, they're writing.
Okay, fantastic.
Okay, don't forget a timer.
Oh yeah,
Just 2 more minutes.
2 more minutes.
Chris, does China pirate our content a lot?
Some, yeah.
One thing, dude.
Just cross over here. Okay. Yeah, so actually I opened it in the sprint book just to clarify. So the sprint questions would be like, for example, the long-term goal would be for a healthcare company, more patients enrolled in trials, clinical trials. So they want to have more patients enrolled in clinical trials. So the sprint question samples would be, can we find matches fast enough? So this is like the fear, like what can go wrong, right? Can we or will clinics change their workflow? Like these are the things that can basically go wrong. Okay, time is up. Please stand up and put your notes right below here. So this is the sprint question.
Where are we going?
Right below here. Just stick it all. And we will get to vote again. All right. Okay, now ready with your stickers? Each one of you gets 3 to pick the top 3 sprint questions you think you should be answering. All right. Okay? Except Chris.
So only 3 guys.
Yes, only 3. So this dynamic of the decision maker separated from everybody else is actually it's quite important because most of the time people can get hung up on consensus, right? We're waiting for consensus, making sure that everybody agrees, and when that happens, your discussions can take a lot of time, right? So what's important is you have a decision maker that just is forced to make a decision and then you move on.
And I just want to say something to
Sure.
Mooch Mooch, or Mouch Mouch. It says, can we generate enough views on YouTube to give all our courses for free? I like the way you think. Let's get that up there. So Francis wants to know, in a normal 4-day sprint, is background music a part of this process?
So I think in an actual sprint, in a sprint workshop that we do, we usually put music.
Yeah, you
Right,
do.
like if we are doing a workshop, so it's fun for the participants.
Right.
But if it's in an actual sprint where you have people thinking. I think maybe some light background music will do. Depends on the preference of the people. It's important to keep the energy high, but sometimes music can be distracting. So I think it depends.
All right. Great. Thank you. I just want to let you guys know from Trails TM, camera crew doing a good job. Thank you very much, guys. Yeah. And Erica on the edit in the other room.
Okay, Chris, your turn.
Yes.
You need to pick the ultimate sprint question.
Okay, so probably we need to read these questions off. So can we do that or
Yeah,
not?
maybe I can
'Cause
get a
people
volunteer.
can't see. Here, you need this.
So just pick the ones with the dots.
Okay.
And Julie, stand a little bit that way, yeah, so
Okay.
the camera can see.
So, can we teach children 12 or younger? Can we get more female instructors? Can we prevent classes from becoming stale? Can we find enough expert teachers? Can we address different learning styles? And lastly, can we find sponsors with who share our vision?
All right. So now you, Chris, you need to pick one of these. So in normal, you can pick from all of it, right? But we don't have the time to just go over everything.
Just
So
pick one of the
Just
dots.
pick one, right?
Pick one of the dots.
Yeah.
What are you thinking about, Chris?
I'm just reading them again because I thought Julie was reading all of them and then she finished. I'm like, what? How do we cover so fast?
Okay. So now Chris is doing the real thing where he's really going to pick from everything, and that's okay. It's like, yeah? What?
Okay, I think I'm gonna pick
It's okay,
this
I
one
told you
right
to.
here. Can we address different learning styles?
Why'd you pick that one?
Because that's the whole point. And one of the things that when you're teaching virtually is you can't be an all things to all people. So we have to figure out, some people need to learn doing hands-on activities. Some people want to learn next to other students. And some people can just watch a video at their own pace and learn everything from that.
Right.
That's why.
Okay.
So where did I put this?
Cool. So you put this right under this one.
Okay.
But actually, let's do this. Let's do it properly. So we take everything out,
Okay.
and then we need to write this down on the whiteboard. So Chris, can you help me with that?
Yes,
I'll
of
take the
course.
Post-its out.
Okay. And then you're going to instruct me what to write.
Right. So, okay. There you go. So over here, we'll write the long-term goal, which is in 2 years, universities and colleges are using our programs in their classrooms.
So while Chris is writing, we have a good question.
Here, you have the mic. Don't forget the mic.
So we have a good question.
Sure.
What's the point of voting if Chris is just going to pick?
Right.
I know you covered this before, but
Yeah,
people
sure.
are asking.
So, in a utopian world, right? We have everybody like sort of like democratic process, right? But the truth is, like we have Chris in here. He's a decision maker, and he is probably invested into the business. He has a vision, right? And the team may not be sharing that entire vision of this long-term thing, right? So somebody needs to make the basically call the shots, right? And make the decision. Because what can happen is if we just go with the most voted answer, and if that's not what the decision maker wanted, you then have, after a few weeks, the project's on the way, you know, the decision maker just wakes up one day and be like, you know what, guys, let's scratch that, let's do it this way. I don't really agree with that, you know. So that's what usually, or that's what could happen. So you want the decision maker making decisions regardless of what the votes are. But the votes are important to give the decision maker a good sense of what the team is thinking. Because one of the problems so did you notice that you guys have been putting ideas, right? I don't know about your team dynamics, but would they be this collaborative? Would they speak out like the number of notes that they have, would they be the same in like when you're doing like, I don't know, brainstorming or sessions or like that?
We don't typically give the venue for that, but yeah, it's pretty open here.
Right, okay, that's cool. But then there are some teams sometimes that, or most of the time I would say, that it's the person like, you know, like Chris or like me who love talking a lot, right? And we're quick thinkers. We're not necessarily right all the time, but we talk fast and we like sort of dominate the conversation, right? And sometimes there are people who have good ideas but are not able to share that or not justify it. And so when they share the idea, then they're asked, why? Can you elaborate more? And they're like, oh, they still have to ponder on that. So they're like, oh, never mind, forget about it, right? So what this does is this structure allows these ideas to come out and surface and be sort of brought to the attention of the decision maker without having to have the guts, right, to do so. So this is all in the goal of making the best ideas win. Now, you have the decision maker to still decide, because in the long-term sense of things, the decision maker's decisions have a real impact, right?
I only wrote the first one. Should I write the second one?
Yes, the second one.
How do you want me to label that?
So just put the sprint question.
Okay.
Yeah. You can also have up to 3 sprint questions, but for now we'll just use 1. Okay, cool. So now we forgot something actually, is remember our checklist over here? We need to check them off, right? So we're done with expert interviews. Give yourselves a big round of applause. Woo! All right, long-term goals and sprint questions. Yay! All right, good job. All so right. Now we're 3 out of
You guys left me hanging.
the whole thing. Okay, so now we're on the last part of defining the problem. So now we have this long-term goal, and it's important that we write this down the whiteboard so it's always visible, because everything that you will be solving will revolve around this, okay? So now we move to mapping, all right? So what is mapping? Mapping is not that user journey mapping, empathy mapping. So no, it's not that. It's just basically taking a user through the process towards their end goal, to the end goal that you want them to basically do. All right, so I need to clear the whiteboard over here, or maybe we can replicate this somewhere else. Maybe we have it at the back?
You can flip the other one over.
All right, let's put the other one over. Okay, Chris, so that we don't have to move all the Post-it notes. All right, so to do the user mapping, we need to just write the columns again. User, discovery, learning, using, cool. Now the reason why Chris is doing this for me is because I really have bad whiteboard handwriting. I tried a while ago, and Chris said, oh, yeah, let me do it. So there was some QA involved, and I failed. But that's okay, he was willing to provide a solution. Cool. So we have user, discovery, learning, and then using, and then goal. All right. Okay, so the way we easily fill this up is we start with the user, and then we proceed with the goal. So Chris, you can stay here. Maybe question I have for you is, so who is the user that that's going?
Who's our customer?
Yeah.
Okay. So all customer types?
So who are your customer types?
Career switchers, college students, high school students, and professionals.
Okay, maybe just lump them into students, right? Designers or what? Can you lump them into one category?
Okay, we'll just call them designers.
Okay. Would they have a similar sort of path, you think?
No.
Not really? All right, pick like your top 2 then.
Career switchers?
Career switcher.
Okay.
Should I do designer, career switcher?
Okay.
Okay. It's either the late bloomer or career switcher.
All right. Do you have any other user that's very important to you? Or we'll stick with this. Okay.
Yeah, let's just stick
we
with
can
this.
do multiple, but for now we'll stick with one.
Okay.
What's your end goal? What would they do with the future?
Give me an example.
So would be start a course, finish a course. So for example, in the example in the sprint book, it's about Blue Bottle Coffee. You know this coffee?
Yes.
So their goal was around the website, and their end goal was the customer would buy beans,
I see.
right?
Okay. So probably the end goal for one of our students is to get a job or start a company.
Just get a job or start a company. All right, let's put it there.
One or-
Maybe just
Get a
one.
job.
Yeah, pick
Get a job.
one.
Okay, get a job.
All right. Now, it's important to know that it can be anything, right? So with Blue Bottle Coffee, it can be buy beans, or it can be share their coffee experience with a friend on social media. It could be any end goal that you want that's related to your, okay, get a good job, dollars. Cool.
Yeah.
Now that you have the user and then the goal, now you need to fill this in. How does the future, does your user discover about the future? How do they learn about the future? And how do they use the future that they end up getting a job?
You write these on the board?
Yes.
Or? Yeah, okay. So do you want me to do this or do
Yes.
they help?
They can help, but
Okay.
you take point.
Okay, so I would say word of mouth first, like a friend tells them. Then they're gonna go probably to our YouTube channel.
So is this like in order?
I think so.
Maybe can you put like arrows on it?
Yes. Like
Alright.
pointing down?
Yeah, it could be. So ideally it's from left to right. So it's like
Oh, like this way?
Yeah, but we'll do like it's fine. As long as you have
I see, I
arrows.
see. So word of mouth YouTube channel, and then they're gonna learn design skills. Is that okay?
Yes. So wait, are they already using when they're learning design skills?
What do you mean using?
Like they're already using your service?
No, not yet.
Okay.
So our YouTube channel is an education channel.
All right,
and so
okay.
we have a lot of videos to teach people.
Okay.
So that's how they're learning.
All right.
Yeah?
Okay.
And then they might find out that we offer products and courses. And then they are going to probably buy one of them to try it out.
Okay.
Okay? Maybe it's a typography course, let's say.
Okay.
Okay?
Do you agree with this? All right.
Okay?
And then after that?
And we have some gaps here.
All right.
That's the problem, right?
Okay.
So we kind of stop here, but maybe what they can do is they can get a certificate,
All right.
and then they can be listed on a job board
Okay.
or something like that. And maybe at some time in the future we have like a placement officer to help pair the right designer
Okay.
with the right company.
All right.
Should I write that up there or no?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
All right.
So person in placement.
So the point is not to really overthink the map. Like it's just to get like your thoughts of like how the flow works, how your product and your user uses the product, and then it has to end with a goal.
Oh,
So you have to connect. You have to make it full. I was gonna say full circle, but it's not really a circle. It's like
you have to
full
deliver
line.
on the mission.
All right. So get a job. Okay, you put it down there. Okay, good. Good. All right. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
So now you have the map. Okay. So now the last part is I will ask you guys to take the how might we's that you have here and put them on where they are on the map. All right. So up. Get the ones with the red dots.
Ooh, I like this part.
Okay.
How do I do it without covering?
Yeah, you can do that. Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Feel free to move it around.
Ladies, kind of remind you to stand camera left.
Which camera?
Yeah, camera left. Yeah, always.
So where does this go?
Here.
Okay.
Discovery.
All right. Just put it close to the. Ben, do we have any questions?
Actually, could you just give us a recap of what we're doing here?
All right.
Just a recap of what we're doing.
Okay. So what we're doing is basically a design sprint workshop. This typically takes 4 days, but we're doing this in about an hour and a half or 2 hours, trying to squeeze everything. The point is not to go into the details, but just to show you the milestones in each activity as we go through them, how they would look like, right? You can look at all the details of this in other videos out there. There's aj&smart. They have really good design sprint videos. But basically, we want to show you that you guys can use this design sprint into getting your team involved and make the best ideas basically win in your team. So these are several techniques around collaboration, around voting, around focusing defining the problem, and then generating solutions. But right now we're still defining the problem basically.
So Laban Lafleur is saying basically what we're watching is how the future is trying to find a solution to develop a better learning program for future creators.
Correct. And we're using the design sprint format, a very structured format for defining the problem, ideation, testing, and then prototyping and then testing. So we're still at that defining.
Fantastic.
Right.
I have a question about this exercise.
Sure.
It seems like we have a couple of different goals here. And the goal that we have listed is a user goal, right?
Right.
We want the user to get a job.
Right.
Is that the right way to do it, or should we have our own goals, like a business goal, or does it matter?
Right. So right at this point, the map doesn't matter so much.
I see.
Right? These are just trying to define the problem. So we have already established that this is your long-term goal. That's why we made it visible over here, right? And then the sprint questions over here. Now we just put the how might we so that we know where they are in the process. And now you've noticed that they've clustered around a certain area. So a lot of it is actually on the using side, right? So now we sort of note this, right? We note this, and then that's just it. We don't have to do anything about it. We just note it so that everybody is on the same page of defining a problem. So then we can jump off, move on to the next part, which is basically solution creation. All right. So to answer your question, it's not as important that it's not super aligned, because right now we're just trying to like get everybody's brains into the whiteboards, right? And making sense of that.
Here's a super basic question. Anonymous Wolf is asking, he might be tuning in late. He's asking, what is a design sprint?
So
What's
the design sprint solves big problems and test ideas in 4 days. Most of the time, you take so long to figure out what to do, to what solution you're going to do, and then you might not even ever test it until you've actually done it, right? So what a design sprint does, it gives you an insight into the future, right? In 4 days, you can get an idea of whether your direction is going to work or not. You get immediate feedback, right? So that's the goal here, to move fast and get everybody contributing to it.
Yeah, fantastic. I just want to say, because Jonathan is watching, he's saying, love you guys from aj&smart.
Woohoo!
Right back at you, Jonathan.
You guys are the best.
He's going to be on our podcast in a couple of days or weeks.
Thank you, guys. All right. So Jonathan, they have these videos where they go into this in extreme detail. So that's really good. Select the focal point. So now what we do is we have to encircle an area where these are. Give me a black pen, right? So how might we make design learning practical, making design education easy to understand? Okay, so this is basically where the cluster is. Right, just there. All right. So this is where our attention is drawn, and also take note of our sprint questions and our long-term goal. All right. Okay. So now that we have the mapping done and we are now ready, we are done with day 1, part 1 in the morning. So we're now moving to day 1, part 2, which is the produce solutions. Are you guys excited?
Yeah.
Okay. So usually this takes way longer. We're exciting the process. You guys are doing very well. Okay. So in producing solutions, we have 2 parts, right? First, we have the lightning demos, and then we move to the 4-part sketching. So in the lightning demos, we ask each one over here to go spend 30 minutes and research on their own. Look at the internet, right? Browse the internet for inspiration. It could be anything, right? About a product. It doesn't even have to be in the same industry. It doesn't even have to be the same type. And just sort of like bring inspiration, like what you like about this product. For example, like you might end up on Google, for example, and you say, I really like that the homepage of Google is just one thing.
Oh, yeah, that's nice.
Right? And you just one thing that you can do. Right? So then you can bring that. Right? So just 30 minutes and demo 3 things. So lightning demos is that you're going to go research stuff, come back, 30 minutes, and then give your top 3 inspiration or ideas. Right? Now, we won't do that 30 minutes because so what we've done is they prepared, actually, their lightning demo. So why don't you come up
Wow,
here?
you guys are awesome. I was like, how are we going to do this? We're going to go to lunch and come back. No?
All right, now
the ladies are ready.
Get my Google Chrome up on the screen? Do I have
I'll
to
help
move?
you.
All right, Chris.
You have to exit.
I did exit that.
So
Okay.
you're gonna go into your display.
Right here?
This one, right?
Yeah. And then mirror?
Yep.
Okay,
That's it.
great, perfect. Thank you. Okay, are you going first? Yes, please. Okay. So microphone. Here you go.
Somebody have to hold it for her, right? So she needs 2 hands. Is that right?
Sure. So one of the sites I found that I draw inspiration from is Design Code. What I like about them is that when you go through their courses,
Boss. Sorry, I forgot to mention that while she is doing the lighting demo, somebody has to be taking notes. Basically, every time she mentions something like, what I like about this is, then you note what she likes about it, right? So you just take note. Sometimes it's a facilitator who does it, but it's also good that somebody from the audience or somebody from the team can do it. All right?
Okay, so you
so
want to
one idea per post-it note.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so you just go through it. All right, let's do it again. Action.
So what I like about the site is that they provide UI kits. They also provide the assets that go along with each course. They also have a job board.
Okay, so slow down. She's on Design Code, and at the bottom, in the footer area, right? Is this at the bottom? They have a UI kit. They have a job board. And what's the last one?
They have assets for each project.
Assets that you can download?
Yeah.
So downloadable assets for each project. Perfect.
Cool.
Nicely done.
All right. Now in the real sprint, obviously you won't have Chris Doe like holding the mic and telling you and summarizing everything. You can just like ask and slow down, and the person there taking notes can say, hey, can you slow down a little bit? And that's okay. All right. Next one.
So slow down.
Okay.
So I don't have to do that.
So another site I got inspiration from was IDOU. I like the wireframe of the homepage. It's easy to see what courses they provide.
Can you show us what courses they provide?
Yeah, sure. It's a screenshot.
There it is. It's up there.
Okay.
Okay.
Can you stop that learn more thing, or is it always there? Can you get rid of that thing?
This thing? Yeah.
Just
I'll
giant box
press
so we
it.
can see.
Here, let me see. I think if I click it, oh, okay.
And then
It
you
takes
close
me
it.
to a.
Okay, got it. Okay, now we can see it.
They have certificates. There's a preview video that entices you as a student.
So preview video, right?
They have design thinking classes.
So you like everything basically
There's
about
nothing she doesn't like about IDEO.
it. And that's okay, right? But just, okay, that's good to,
Can I move on to the
Sure.
final one?
Hold on a second before you do. Are you okay? You got it all? All right. If you, I see you scrambling there. If she talks too fast, you got to just say, "Hey, slow down, slow your roll, girl."
All right.
All right.
Finally, I like learnux.io. They break down, certain, like if you're confused about what class to take, they break it down with like, oh, start with the basics, then workflow, and then prototyping and animation.
So it sounds like they've got different curriculum depending on your level. Is that right?
I think it's level based.
okay.
So level-based learning modules or tracks. That's what they have.
Yes.
What was the second thing?
Level-based learning tracks.
There was one thing before that.
For that.
I don't think she was just describing all that.
Okay. That's it?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yay.
How about you?
Okay, switch roles, right?
It's your turn to take notes now?
And it's still my turn to hold the mic.
Sure.
Oh, you want to hold it?
Okay, sure. So I like Hack Reactor. I think it conveys high quality. It shows you what companies that their graduates went on to. I like that it has ratings.
Ratings.
Yeah, so, and then there's also a trial version, start learning for free.
Why do you like that?
Just because there are so many design classes out there online, and it's hard to commit to something and pay money for it if you don't know what it entails. Even if they say, oh, you're going to get this and this and this, sometimes...
So it's a low commitment sort of?
Yeah,
okay.
low commitment, yeah.
Cool.
I also like that they have a physical location. Personally, I don't want to just rely on the internet, their online content to learn. I like that they let you download their syllabus. Yeah.
Cool. Do you have another one?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. All right, so this goes over here. Let me bring up my slides again. Okay. Whoops, I have to exit and fix my display. Okay. All right, so now you take all of these ideas and we need to put them up over here. All right. So as you can see, what we've done here is very quickly, we've created a ton of ideas, right? A ton of inspiration and put them into Post-it notes. And now we just need to put them over here. So this is also really good as like standalone thing. So for example, if you guys don't know what to do with you know, if you have a question that you guys, what should we do for our video? Like what should be our intro, what do you call that? Intro roll? Or like, what's like opener, something like that, right? And like, oh, what, we should have a new one, right? You can just do a quick lighting demo and then just go off separately, do research for 30 minutes, come back, and then do lighting demo basically. And then you have a ton of ideas ready to work with. And then you can then vote and then decide, right? It can work very well as a standalone thing. Okay, cool. So there's no voting here. It's just all ideas are great, all inspiration are great. All right, so that's done with lighting demo. Okay, so now we move to the 4-part sketch. The 4-part sketch, there's 4 steps, and this is the last part for our part 1. Okay, so the first part is notes. So each one of you get a piece of paper, or we're supposed to have like clipboards or something, and I forgot about that. But basically, each one of you take a piece of paper, or you can use your, all right, piece of paper. And what you need to do is just go around and take notes, right? No critic here, just copying actually. So you copy the sprint questions, copy the long-term goal, copy the how might we here. Any idea that comes into your mind, just write it down. Copy all the what do you call this? The lighting demos. Basically, the goal here is to just get it into your sort of like short-term memory. Right? There's something about like the psychology of like writing things down. It loads it up. All right. So let's just simulate that for a while. I'll give you 2 minutes to copy as much as you can. In the real session, there's about like 20 minutes allocated to this. But for now, I'll give you 2 minutes. So you guys gotta stand up and just go and copy as much as you can. All right, go. Right. So Ben, you need a piece of paper actually. So, ideally,
Ben
there's a
Burns not
clipboard.
following directions. Clearly, he said. Albert, if people want to find out more about Symph and your company, where can they go?
They can go to symph.co.
What does Symph mean?
Symph, okay, so like all business names, right? It stands for like symphony, right?
Yeah.
So like in business, you have different parts that need to be working in harmony, right? So we then just took symphony and then we made it Symph.
Beautiful. So it's symph.com or
Yeah.
.ph?
.co.
.co. Symph.co.
Symph.co. Yeah, we build websites, mobile apps. That's what we do.
Thank you very much.
Cool, thank you. Oh, we got clipboards. You ask and we shall receive.
That was
Thank-
Monica?
Thank you, Monica.
Monica's on it. Ricky's just taking the credit.
There you go. There you go.
That guy, you can't trust him.
Can we get a recap of where we are currently and what's happening?
Right. So right after this, I'll turn it around. And so this, okay, let's do a recap. All right. So we have a 4-day design sprint. We are currently in day 1. We've just done defining the problem. So defining the problem, we asked the expert here, Chris Doe. We'll extend that a little bit for my recap. All right. So we've asked the expert. We used a technique called how might we's, right? And then we voted on them, right? And then we made sprint questions and a long-term goal. So we defined with the direction of where we're going. Now, there was some sort of like voting involved to get a sense of what the team wants, but at the end of the day, the decision maker chooses and decides what the direction will be. Now after that, we are now going into, we then did a mapping, like the map of the user all the way to the end goal that they want. In this case, they wanted the user to get a job. So they have career switchers to get a job and how the process of that. So we just mapped that. There's not too many things, it's not very big of a deal that you do it like completely perfect, just to give you an idea of where it is. Now that's the whole define the problem and mapping. After that, we are now in the producing solutions. In order to produce solutions, you need inspiration. So we kick it off with the lighting demos. And the lighting demos is basically where people, or the team goes out into their internet, into their browsers. And this is actually the only time where they are allowed to use a laptop. Okay, so in the sprints, there is a no device policy because you don't want distractions happening. All right, that's counterproductive to the sprint. People are not involved, they're not using their brains. The best ideas won't win. But this time during the lighting demos, people can go out and do some short research on the internet just to see and pick 3 things they want to demo to the rest of the team and say why they like it. It doesn't have to be in the same industry. It can be something totally different. Like for example, we're talking about education here, but they can say something like, oh, I like this advertisement by Google. I keep on saying Google, right? Or I like the Symph website, right? Like how it's structured. I really like that.
I sense some bias here.
Right, so if I was going to do a demo, it would be like the Symph website, the Symph blog, and then the Symph YouTube channel, and then the Futur, of course, will fit that in. But then, so that basically picked 3, and then they mention it. Now, while they're doing the lighting demo, somebody on the crowd or somebody in the team is writing down all the big ideas that are being shared. Now, this provides a repository or a cloud if here. Okay, my recap is up, but just sneaking it in. Like we have here a repository of the inspiration or ideas. And then we need to get these ideas into the brains of the powerhouse team, right? And the fastest way to do that is to just give them a clipboard, pieces of paper, and tell them to copy everything, right? No thinking, no solutionary, and just copy everything, and as things pop into their mind, also write it down. But the point is to copy as many as they can. They're given 20 minutes to do this. There's going to be a lot of stuff on the board. They just copy it so that it then just loads into their brain. There's something about writing that makes you remember things, right? Okay, so we just finished that part. We just finished the taking notes. This is the first part of the 4-part sketch. All right, so the next thing is ideas. Whoops, okay, ideas went down. Okay, so we will allot 20 minutes for this normally in a sprint, but for this one, just very short time again, 5 minutes at the most. Each one gets a piece of paper and just sketch out your ideas, all right? Ideas on how you would answer this, right? Over here, right? So this is sort of like the map here, but you want to address the question of like, can we address different learning styles, right? So how would you address learning styles? How would your solution fit into the picture that in 2 years, you would achieve this basically, all right? So any idea? Now, it's important, you guys are like UX people, designers, so you have no problem sketching. I'm not, I'm a tech guy, right? No design. So it's important to let your participants know that it's okay for it to look ugly, all right? Ugly is okay. Don't worry about it. Just important, you can use words, you can do a sketch, you can do a combination. Both important is to write down your idea. Okay, 5 minutes starts now. Actually, it started a while ago.
It's called a sprint.
Right.
You guys have become Usain Bolt.
So I guess
Is this a question?
because we're limited in time, do you want us? So we're drawing things out. It's not bullet pointing or making a list.
Yeah, just draw something out. Like
Like a wireframe.
yeah.
Okay.
Like she asked if it's a wireframe. Wireframe is okay.
So I just wanted to check with you 2 guys. I think a natural breaking point might be the day 1
Yes.
exercise, and we'll just break there to
Definitely.
let everybody know we're going to take
Okay.
a lunch break, and
Yeah.
then we'll come back to part 2.
Yeah.
Cool.
Sure. Okay. Now while they're doing this, right? Yeah. Okay. There you go. So I just want to emphasize again the concept of working together alone. Right? And I think if you've heard of the concept of deep work, right? It's usually like when you spend a lot of time just concentrating, focusing on one thing without distractions. And when you are in a meeting or a brainstorming session, it's difficult. It's much more difficult or more difficult to do some deep work, right? Because you're always like in real time responding. So with this, it's very quiet, it's very productive, the creative juices are flowing on their own. And this is really good. So we get the best ideas out of each person's brain, regardless of whether they're Chris Doe or they're the intern.
I guess this is where Matthew starts beatboxing or playing a track in the other room.
Don't worry, guys, watching the live stream. We just got 2 minutes to, watch these people write stuff.
In deep thought.
Yeah, in deep thought. Just, over here we have this girl. She is making a wireframe of something. Over there is just bullet points. Don't worry, no pressure. No sketching involved, just words. And Ben, over here we have a flow chart. A flow chart of icons with lots of dollar signs. You know where his brain is. And Chris over here has nothing.
Nothing.
But he's watching all the questions come up in the chats. Cool. Guys, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. There will be several moments like this where we're just, watching them write stuff. So I'll be happy to answer questions during these times.
Now, I just want to comment and make a mention of something real quick because Jonathan Courtney is on the chat. He's talking to people and a lot of questions flying his way. He and I did a podcast recording a couple days ago, and it'll go into edit, and it'll be probably how we close out the season for podcasts. I believe he has a code for those of the people that want to take his Design Sprint course, and the code is Chris Doe is sexy, no lies. Chris Doe is sexy. That's your code, and I think you'll save like $500 or $600. All right. So those are the guys that are thinking about taking it. I'll put it in there, and hopefully that's the code that's working.
Okay, perfect timing. Okay, so now everybody stop. We're now going to move on to the next part. This is part 3 of the 4-part sketch. Now I need you to take this piece of paper, and I need you to let's pick the big one, because ideally you have like the legal size paper. So we're going to use this very legal size paper. It's actually much bigger, but
it's tabloid.
Not tabloid. Okay, so you fold it 3 times. So 1, 2, 3. Go ahead.
I've seen this before. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. So the goal here is simply to create 8 sections, right? That's it. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 sections. And this part we call crazy 8s, right? Crazy 8s is an exercise where you make 8 ideas or 8 iterations of your idea in 8 minutes. 1 idea per minute. The goal is not quality, the goal is quantity. So just start sketching. That's the most important part, that you don't stop. If you get stuck, just keep going, move on. And the focus is quantity, not quality. So we will not wait for anyone. 8 minutes starts now. You lack 1 more. There you go.
So are we doing the same version as this? Like
Yes. So usually it's like a UI or like a flow. So you can also do a flow. Do an iteration of that, Ben. This time, that one's sort of like thought out, right? This one is like not so thought out. Just you need 8 versions of those. And you already have lost 30 seconds, so you gotta move. Go, guys.
Gene, you want a marker or felt tip pen? Yeah, it might be easier to see. Or you can try this. This is a little thin too. So it's thin. Yeah, that work better? Yeah. Okay. People think I'm punking them, that they're going to go to the aj&smart website and buy the design course and type in Christo's sexy, and it's going to like show them a meme or something. No, for reals, it's Christo's sexy, guys. I can't lie. Somebody's saying, Ling is saying, yay, I love the Crazy Eights.
Yeah. So Crazy Eights are great, you know, because you're really forced into making a lot. And so this sort of unlocks it takes away the thinking part, the analytical part, and just unlocks the creative part.
Thomas Dillinger wants me to participate. Guys, I was putting together the links for all the supplies that you'll need, so I'm a little bit out of the loop. So you guys will have to just marvel at these incredible UX designers, Ji-yoon and Julia, and Mr. Ben Burns doing it.
So see, this is the reason like why we need to shorten the sprint, because decision makers can't commit to the amount of time, right? So it's a very big commitment. So we really shortened the sprint to accommodate that without sacrificing the impact. 5 minutes to go, guys. You should be in idea number 5. Well, technically idea number 3. It works backwards.
I just want to say to all 313 people who are tuning in to this design sprint, especially if you're in the Philippines, oh my God, what time is it right now?
It's like 4 a.m., 4:30 a.m.
Yeah, it's pretty late.
It's pretty late. It's like pretty early in the morning.
But they haven't gone to bed yet.
Yeah.
That's the thing. For all you hardcore people,
Thank you so much.
we thank you. I want to show you guys something while the designers are hard at work.
Go ahead.
Look at these stickers here. So this is the Symph logo, guys. Check this out. Who's got the camera? Symph logo. All right, check that out. Okay, hold on. Symph logo. And then they have the mascot, which is this little bird. Is this a Filipino bird?
It's inspired by a Filipino bird.
Filipino bird. Okay, you guys hold on to that. Now check out this other bird. This super sexy bird. I'm going to show you right now. I don't know if you guys can tell. Can you guys recognize this other super cool bird? That's the original. This is the super cool bird right there. Does it look like anybody? For real, guys, they made me a custom sticker. Check that out.
Yeah. So that's credits to a guy named Clint Bustillos.
Clint Bustillos?
Yeah.
Does he work for you?
Yeah, he attended your workshop.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Clint, what is up, man? Thank you very much for doing this. I want to say this. There are a lot of designers and creatives / artists watching our channel, and they do make fan art. I like it when it looks cool. Sometimes you guys make drawings of me, and I'm like, ugh, your mom would like that, but I don't like it. Come on, guys, work with me here. Are you guys stuck? Are you guys enjoying this process? Julia? Yeah? June?
Oh, Julia's almost done.
Yeah. She's like, don't talk to me, dude. I'll stab you with this Sharpie right now. Do not talk to me.
3 minutes to go.
Both Julia and Ji-yoon are interning for us, both UX experts or studying UX design, and they're about to wrap up. So we thought it'd be great before they leave us that they're going to be on the show. So both of them were a little nervous before coming on. They're like, we didn't know it was going to be live. You didn't say it was going to be live.
We just found out this morning.
There's no preconditions. Yeah, you got to just roll with the punches, man. All right? The lighting on you guys look great, by the way. This backlighting, guys, you gotta need to light me like that. You just make me look ugly. Or maybe that's nature. Yeah, you want to say something?
Yeah, so sometimes people get stuck in the Crazy 8, so it's important to like nudge them, right? So if you're facilitating this, you'd be like, hey, let's keep going, all right? 1 more minute, 2 more minutes, just keep going. It's important not to be stuck. If you're stuck, just move on, next idea. All right.
Sorry, Matthew just pointed out to me, it's not Ji-yoon, it's Jen. I'm so sorry, I messed that up.
Jen, Gian, and Julia. So
There's a lot of women with J's in here. It messes me up.
You're done. Great. All right. Ben? Well, you still have technically 2 minutes, so.
Get off my time, man. Oh my
Get off his jock. He's working on art here.
This is not a
Now,
competition
Rome
amongst
was not built
others.
in a day.
It's a competition against time.
That's what you tell yourself. Ben needs to own this. I can help sketch for somebody if you like. But you have to give me direction.
Look at this.
You want to give me direction? Crazy 8.
This is valid, by the way. This is valid.
Thanks for validating,
Right.
Julia.
Validate.
Okay.
It's amazing.
Or we'll just.
Mixoplex is saying both interns are doing great live. You guys are so awesome.
Oh, Ben, we're out of time.
Oh!
Okay.
Put your knives down.
All right.
Serve
so
the
now that
dish.
you have the crazy eights, the goal of this was to get your creative juices flowing. We're now going to spend time on the final part, which is a solution sketch. So the solution sketch is what we do is so we'll take this tabloid instead. So what you can do is take 3 of this letter size papers and tape them at the back. So you have but we can use this tabloid because they're kind of big enough already. All right. So. But if you don't have this tabloid size, you can use these, just tape them like that, 3 of them. All right. So get 1 of each. And what you're going to do is you write out your final masterpiece. All right. So this is now your final solution. This is detailed, right? So you have to write, so if it's like a website, it's like the mock-up. If it's multiple web pages, then you write multiple ones. You can put post-its on it. You can put descriptions on it. The most important part here is that it has to stand alone, right? You're not going to be able to explain this when people are looking at it. So it has to be understandable just by going through it and basically stand alone. Also, it's going to be anonymous. So think of give it a name, right? Like for example, the School of the Future or something like that, or the future. We're just revolving around that. All right, so the way we do it is this way. Right?
Vertically?
Yeah, not this way.
Yep.
This way. All right?
Portrait mode.
Yep. And if you need more, it's okay to extend it.
Ooh.
All right.
It's like an infinite scrolling website.
So we're addressing only one thing on our. Are we addressing only one thing on our crazy 8?
Actually, no. This was just crazy exercise just to unlock your creativity and give you more options. Right?
It's a brainstorming tool.
Yes, individual brainstorming
So
tool.
are we just addressing the sprint question?
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
I noticed there are a lot of tricks in this, Albert. You've been tricking us a lot.
So blame Jake Knapp and AJ
Yes.
and Smart for that, Jonathan and his team.
There's a lot of mind trickery, mind effery.
No, I think it's important, right? Because
yes, I totally agree with you.
yeah, that's the human psychology, right? When
Yeah.
you're asked to do something, you don't want to do it, but when you're asked to do something else, you kind of are okay with doing something.
Okay, we're marching into the final
All
stretch
right.
before we take
So
a break, right?
We'll
So you guys
this
do your
for,
thing.
For 8 minutes.
8 minutes is what you guys
Normally
got.
it's like 30 minutes, 25 minutes.
Yep.
But we're gonna do 8 minutes. Actually, I think sometimes in the original it was 90 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, you guys keep working. Vertical, vertical, vertical. Jen, vertical.
Like this.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Okay, Francis was just correcting you, Albert. It's 5 a.m. here in the Philippines.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Thank you, Francis.
There's a lot of people tuning in from all over the world. I just want to say hello to as many of those people as possible. Chia Bobo is calling in typing in from Singapore. It's 5 a.m. in Malaysia, so it must be same time zone as the Philippines. Axel's saying, I just woke up from the Philippines. Well, welcome, good morning. Have a UX breakfast on us. Low calorie. Okay, it's 21:05, which is 9 some odd p.m. in the UK. 11:05 here, La Bande La Fleur. Somebody's at midnight. 2:35 a.m. in India.
Wow.
Thanks for hanging in there, you guys. People are liking the super cool bird is sexy.
This one. It's this one.
Yeah, that's the one. 6:05 a.m. in Korea. That is the record right now.
Wow.
That person has stayed up till late. That's Victoria Paul Sol. and so happy that you're doing this.
That makes me happy, right? Because I'm like here in this room and it's just us.
Yes.
Right? But it's amazing to hear this from you guys. Really, really.
Let's see other times. I just messed up. Toronto, Canada, 4 p.m. Okay, that's not a big deal.
Ukraine, 11 p.m.
11 p.m. Not a big deal. Usually I go to bed at 1:30 in the morning. So, thanks for hanging in there. Welcome Ukraine, Bosnia, New Zealand, Africa, Nairobi, Kenya. I think we're kind of popular in certain parts of Africa. Italy, Greece, Bulgaria, Istanbul, Turkey, Cotonou. I don't know where that is. Kenya, it's midnight. What up, Kenya? Ciao, Milano. That's Paulo. You guys giving me that military time. 22:12 in France.
So I just want to, Ben, I can see that you're really taking this seriously, and that's really good, and that's how you should do it. Though in this exercise, I just want to remind everybody that we only have 5 minutes left. So in the actual sprint, you go all the way to 30 minutes, but you got to finish what you need to do, Ben, in 5 minutes. So
Chop chop, Ben. Ben's good. He can manage time.
yeah, he's not even answering me. He's like, don't talk to me.
Nobody wants to talk to you right now. So you and I will just banter with each other.
Actually, this is-
Jamaica. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is really good. Like when this is what you see in every design sprint, is like they stop talking and start working, and that is amazing. Especially when you come from an environment where everybody's just talking and not getting anything done, right? Always exploring new ideas. This is great.
Yeah. So somebody's calling in from Texas. Show scene. It's 3:12 p.m. Morocco, it's 22. Hello from Jamaica. Dang it! Every time I scroll up, it freaks out. Denmark, Egypt, Cameroon, Utah. I'm gonna stop calling your cities because we're gonna be reading this all day long. Thank you very much for tuning in, you guys. We have such a diverse and interesting audience. I love it. Hello from Poland. Somebody's watching from Brazil, Seattle. What up? All right, that's enough. What do you guys want to know? What do you guys want to ask Albert about the process, the kit, the clock, his T-shirt? What do you want to know? Monterrey, Mexico. Okay, here we go. What type of exercises should we compress in a 3-day sprint, if that's possible? Totally possible, right? Or no?
Yeah, so 4 days is like, without sacrificing any impact, 4 days is like almost the best that you could squeeze it to.
Okay.
Right? Definitely you don't want testing, you don't want to remove testing, right?
Right.
So then prototyping is still there. So that's just like 2 days right there.
I see.
So you can maybe squeeze everything into 1 day, right? All the define the problem and then generating solutions and then prototype on day 2 and day 3 user test. That maybe you can do.
Oh,
right?
okay. There's two things. One, I want to let you know that Chin Lee is saying, amazing show, thank you for this.
Woohoo!
But here's the big one. Of course, David Coe is going to ask this question.
Okay.
How do you find clients for the design sprint? How are you selling the design sprint process?
Okay.
Good one, David.
All
We're
right.
going to do that while with the remaining. We have like 2 more minutes, guys.
So, usually where the design sprint really shines is when you have, for us, is when we have clients that have multiple stakeholders, right? And for a project that has been stuck and in zombie mode for a long time, right? You have that project where they're trying to get off the ground, but it's not, they've tried version 1, doesn't work, version 2 doesn't work, and it's taken them months to just get there, right? And so at some point they'll be like, oh, we're tired of doing this. Hey, can you help us? What can we do? And be like, you know what? There's this really good process, 4 days, where we go from define the problem, ideation, to testing. We used to do 5 days. And in 5 days, and you get sort of the answer right away. And that 5 days to them is like, what, really? I like this. And then that's when you say like, okay, but here's a catch. I need the decision makers in the room. And they're going to be like, oh, that's not going to happen and all these things. So this is the part where we negotiate with them. Like, okay, you come in at this schedule and then we make sure that everything can, the schedule works out. And so this 4-day design sprint is really good because you don't only need the decision makers on the 2 days, the experts and the decision makers. in 2 days. So to recap, how we sell it is it's really easy to sell for projects that have been stuck for a while and where the stakeholders are frustrated.
Do you write that copy on your site? Like, are you stuck in zombie mode on your product?
Actually, no.
Maybe you should.
Right.
Addressing a pain point.
Yeah.
Okay. Next is, how much does it cost to run a sprint? What do you charge? Or do you have any guidelines on how to charge this? Now, I know Jonathan Courtney tells all. He tells all. And I think he does it like $18,000 or $20,000 per week. And the sprint lasts 4 weeks, exactly.
Right.
And then you get a working prototype.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're asking me?
Yeah, you have other thoughts on that? So it's about $80K
Yeah.
for a 4-week sprint?
4-week sprint.
Yeah.
What's a 4-week sprint? Oh, 4-day sprint, you mean?
No, he does like 2 days with a client.
Okay.
Well, there's a lot of, the friction is the first 2 days. At the end of the week, they have some kind of rough MVP. And then the remaining 3 weeks, they're working independently, doing design, prototyping, testing,
Right.
all that kind of stuff.
Right.
So, yeah.
So let me say how we price this. We learned a lot of our pricing on this guy named Chris Doe. He has this.
Who's that guy?
Yeah, he has this video where you don't price based on the value or effort you provide, but it's based on the client's risk and the amount of what do you call this? Amount of risk that they're putting into it, amount of investment and budget. So we do have that approach as well. So depending on the client, we evaluate that and then we price accordingly.
So no fixed pricing for you?
For sprint and for coming in, yeah, no.
It depends on the client.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, for
Fantastic.
development and that area, there is some sort of commoditized.
Yeah, I understand.
But for the consulting, yeah,
Okay.
it depends on the client because you really want to, deliver value to them at the level where they're at.
Perfect. That was Terrell Jones. So the time is up. Before
Okay.
we break, guys, for day one of this super fast hyper sprint, what do we do now?
Okay, so this is actually a very good time to break because this is a natural stop where it's important that people. So the next step is we're going to vote on these things, right? But when we put this up, right, and if we vote now, everybody's sort of very biased towards their own ideas.
Of course.
All right.
I know designers.
So when we take a break, this will give us time for the brain to sort of remove the
clever.
biases, right?
Yeah.
So usually it's on another day.
Yes.
Right. But on this design sprint, the 4-day compressed one, it's a break.
Yep.
Just a break. All right.
Okay.
So that's it.
So what we're going to do here, guys, is we're going to take a quick break. We're going to be back in an hour and a half. I'm going to take Albert to lunch. We're going to go and recharge our juices, and then we'll be back, okay? You guys definitely want to stick around. I do want to let you guys know something. Let me stand up here. What am I doing? I'm lazy or something. I just want to let you guys know we're doing something different with our full-length live streams. They're going to only be up for 48 hours, so you need to watch this now. Watch it before it disappears. Don't say you weren't warned. If you wanted to watch this video, you would have watched it within the first 48 hours. After which, we'll chunk it out into little parts and pieces, okay? Make sure you watch the live stream before it disappears. Okay, that's it for us. We're going to wrap up, you guys. Thanks for tuning in on how to do a design sprint, a 4-day design sprint, and we're getting a really amazing overview from Albert Padin. He's out here from Cebu, and he has a company called Symph. If you guys want to check them out, it's symph.co, symph.co. He is a Google developer expert and a design sprint. See you guys.
What am I doing?
That was a weak kick by me. Yeah.
We clearly are masters at Kung Fu, but yeah. All right. Okay. Awesome. Awesome.